What up, everybody? This your boy B.R.O.B, and I'm back with another edition of the Random Rounds with Rob podcast. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, the listener, for coming back each and every week, or however you listen to podcasts. If you're a first-time listener, I very so much appreciate you for tuning in and listening to my show. And if somebody referred you to me, if you are in their vicinity, give them a crisp high five. Or if you're not in their vicinity, use your social media app of choice and send them that DM. I mean, don't get too creepy when you get up in there. I mean, this is just a social call. You're telling them thank you for delivering some quality content to your ear holes and whatnot. So in a true random fashion, I've been adopting that phrase here more recently than anything, because this is the Random Rounds with Rob. I have another guest, and you know, every guest that's been on the show comes from all walks of life, all manner of entertainment, whether it be movies, film, television, Netflix, whatever have you that entertains you. It comes through here in some form, and today is no different. Full disclosure. Well, I'm gonna give you the disclosure after I give you who my guest is. You know how I do. This is random. I just preach it all off the top of my dome. As it comes to me, it flies out of my mouth hole and hits you in the ears. So, from TV, C.V.V, Chris Van Vliet. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much for having me on. I wish I was there in person to receive a crisp high five. Those are my favorite kind of high fives.
I know, man. And just like, we'll get into it more, but like, I wish I was in your vicinity as well to give you that crisp high five.
Well, you know, I'm sure one day we will make it happen. We'll be in the same place at the same time, and we'll deliver to each other a crisp high five.
For real, because I'm just wanted to be like Baywatch style or whatever. I come across from one side of the beach, you coming from the other side. We just jump up in there. It'd be more like the Rocky montage with him and Apollo or whatever. But,
oh, of course.
But less awkward hug though. But,
well, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, well, once again, as I said before, thank you for your time. All right, full disclosure. I mean, I've done this with numerous guests that came to this show. I feel like I should always be honest with everybody. I mean, not because you're a guest on my show, it's because you're a human being and you deserve that courtesy. So, Chris Van Vliet, you popped up on my radar just 4 months ago.
Okay.
And it was just like a small blip. It was just like, boop, you were there, then you were gone, and then here we are talking 4 months later. Let me tell you how that all went down.
Okay.
I think it was your interview with Dolph Ziggler. You was in his backyard somewhere. He was talking about his comedy show and whatnot. And I think he popped up on a pay-per-view after saying that he wasn't going to be there.
Yeah.
So I remember this whole thing because I didn't know who you were at that time. I had never heard of you whatsoever in my life. And I seen Dolph Ziggler pop up because I'm a wrestling fan. And yep. I believe within the past couple of years, Dolph Ziggler has not received a fair shake. I mean, he might tell you the otherwise, but to me as a fan, looking at him and what he's been doing over these past couple of years, he needs to be somewhere else, up, elevated, high, gold, monies, all kinds of stuff. But yeah, listen to him talk about doing his comedy and how he came into it and all that stuff. I mean, it made me genuinely feel happy because somebody that I have so much adulation and praise for or whatnot is doing something that he's enjoying, Yep. So that made me happy. And I was like, oh, that was a cool interview. That guy, Chris, he's awesome. So I didn't hear you again until maybe a week or so before I sent you the email to see if you would be on the show. Yeah. And it happened because I seen that you were doing an interview or something like that with former 3R Show alumni Alicia Toot.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, oh, she's awesome. And then I got to seeing your interview and he was like, oh, they're both Canadian. That's doubly awesome. And then you're from the same place. I mean, it's just all kinds of things around. But historically, the 3 years in the show, I don't do research. I don't look into the background of nobody all too often. But today I was going through it, man. Like, had a 12-hour work day. It was 94 degrees. I got my vest on. I got all my duty gear on. I got a gun on my hip. I'm walking out in Houston, Texas, to where the sun just decided to use Houston as his armrest today. Yeah. And on top of that, I had to deal with over 1,000 people trying to come into my building, and I had to screen and check every last single one of them.
Wow.
So I was feeling defeated today, man.
Yeah, you've had a day.
Yeah, I was feeling defeated, and I was just like, man, then I got to get off, hurry up, take a shower, throw some food in my mouth, do these interviews and whatnot. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't feeling it, man. I didn't have it in me at the time. You know, I was physically and mentally beat down.
Sure.
So had a little downtime. We cleared the chaos and whatnot. And I was just like, let me look this guy up. I mean, he did that cool Dolph Ziggler interview. And before I watched you and Alicia, I went to your IMDb and I seen all these different celebrities. Seen The Rock, John Cena, you know, people from the film world and industry and whatnot. And what really perked me up out of all that moping that I was doing earlier in the day, I watched your demo reel on your IMDb.
Yeah.
And I watched all 4 minutes and 25 seconds of it. And I was just like, this dude is fucking cool, man. And I was like, this guy is freaking awesome. I mean, I immediately, like, from the time the video started till the video ended, you know, my cheeks were up. I was grinning ear to ear. And then I went into the interview with you and Alicia, and that was extra delightful because, you know, I actually got to talk to her and everything. And then, you know, just y'all two talking passionately about what you do and, you know, just hearing her story once again. And it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And then I went to your YouTube where I was watching it already, and I went to your, I guess like it was like a best of video. It was like a couple of minutes long, and I went through that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So out of all that bullshit that I went through at the beginning of the day, you really turned it around, and you made me extra excited to talk to you this evening.
Man, that's the best compliment I've heard all month. So thank you so much. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. And I'm seriously, man. It was just like, and then I also got depressed once again because we are a year apart in age. And then you got this lovely mane of hair, and I've been bald since I was 23. So, I mean, then I just started questioning my life choices or whatever. I mean, I'm at.
You look way cooler with a shaved head than I would ever look with a shaved head. So, you know, if it had to work out like this, I think that, you know, it worked out the way it was supposed to work. And I'm fortunate. Everyone in my family, all my grandfathers, uncles, my dad, everyone has a full head of hair. So I was like, I think I'm going to be okay, guys. I'm going to be all right.
Well, see, I think I got the raw end of the deal because I'll tell you why. I was the last child of 18 kids.
No.
So
what? You should have been on like some reality show or something. I know, and your 17 siblings.
I know, but like, you know, it's weird circumstances because like, and you know, like I said, I'm a year older than you, but
right.
I'm the last of 18. So there's a big gap between me and any of my siblings. So my mother was turning 40 when she had me, and my father was already 50, 10 years older than my mama. And so I never grew up with nobody in the house.
I gotcha.
Because everybody was that much older than me, and they had kids.
Sure.
They had my siblings had kids that babysitted me. But I say I got the raw end of the deal because my parents are so much older. They've been through so much life experience, and they just transferred all that old energy into me.
Oh,
so that's why my dad still has hair. I have none.
Oh, no.
You know, my knees hurt, my back hurt, my elbows and shoulders jacked up. I was like, yeah.
Oh, man.
But my daddy, 87 years old, still running around here like nothing wrong with him.
Wow. Your dad's 87. That's insane.
Yeah. Still kicking it, man.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you, finding the time to make this happen. I know my schedule is a little bit crazy sometimes. So, I appreciate you carving out some time to chat with me tonight.
Word. Now, I look at your Twitter profile and everything when I'm looking you up. I just followed you on one of my accounts. And
yes, thank you.
4-time Emmy winning entertainment reporter. 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you did it so well the first time. They just is like, hey, just give them 3 more just cause.
It was funny. Like, I'm so honored and so grateful to be able to win those too. Cause, a kid growing up in Canada, like that's not even an option. Now I've been in the US for 9 years, and when you're doing local news or local television, that's the pinnacle, to be able to win an Emmy. And, I'm fortunate now to win 4, and I won 2 in my first my first award ceremony. Well, I won 2 in my second year of coming to the US, and it was just like awesome. Like, and one was for hosting, and one I'm really proud of was for a story on a pro wrestler named Gregory Iron, who's the only pro wrestler in the world who wrestles with cerebral palsy. And I told a really touching story about him, and he's a friend of mine. And to win one for that, it meant so much more to me.
Word. Now, like, what was the whole, like, do they tell you ahead of time that you're nominated? Of course, they probably had to do that, but like, do they entice you to be like, hey, man, you might win something, so you should come to the show?
I wish. Because then the years when you don't win, you could save your money and your time by not going to the award ceremony. No, it's quite a long process, actually. You have a whole year to, like, basically, create your stuff, a whole year of television, and then you kind of pick your best pieces. You submit them. You have to pay an entry fee to submit them into the Emmys, and then you wait. Like, it's like a 3 or 4 month waiting process while it gets voted on and judged by basically the Emmy chapter. Mm-hmm. And then after that process happens, then the nominations come out, and then it's another like 6 weeks after that until they actually have the awards ceremony and announce it. So it's just like, it's a long process. And the whole time you're just like, I hope this happens. Like, I put in so much hard work into this, and I just hope it's rewarded.
Yeah. And especially to like pay a fee for you to possibly win something. I mean,
it's no different than entering a film festival or something like that. It's
for shit, or the lottery.
I wish winning an Emmy was like winning the lottery. But maybe one day I'll just have to win the lottery instead.
Yeah. Now, if you did win the lottery or whatever, would it be like one of those things? Because like they make it public knowledge that you won the lottery. Would you be like the guy a couple months back or whatever, that one that you went up there with like one of those Walmart emoji heads on his face and shit?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you win the lottery, you win a couple $100 million, and your cousins and uncles and aunts start coming out of the woodwork and being like, "Hey, Chris, I need some money." So yeah, I don't blame that guy. I'd want to be incognito too.
Now let's talk about the frivolous lifestyle of being a billionaire, almost essentially, by winning the lottery. What would be some of the extravagant things that you would buy with that money?
First of all, I would hope to God that I wouldn't be one of those people who wins the lottery and then is broke 2 years later, which I think is like some staggering statistic of people that do that.
There's a reality show based on that.
Which is just so crazy. And I get it. Like, I get there's a big difference between found money and earned money. But to answer your question, I'd buy a big house. I'm a big wrestling fan. I'd probably buy every championship belt that I could.
Oh, my man. That's what this crisp high five would be at its most solid.
I would have an entire room like dedicated to that. I think I'd have like my own Hall of Fame with just a wall of every belt ever. I'm actually starting this collection. I've started about a couple of years ago. I'm trying to collect every wrestling belt and then get it autographed by the person most famous for holding that belt.
I got you. Yeah.
So it started with Goldberg gave me one of his championship titles, and I'm like, well, can you autograph it for me? He's like, yeah, of course, no problem.
I mean,
so then I got Hogan to sign the Winged Eagle. Then I got RVD to sign the ECW championship, and I'm going to keep going from there. Last time I talked to John Cena, I so badly wanted him to sign the spinner title, but it just didn't seem like the right place and the right time. So I just had the interview with him instead, which was, a phenomenal chat. I had a great time with him.
Which one Goldberg gave you?
Goldberg gave me the big gold WCW belt.
All right. Yeah. So like in the vein of the United States champion, who would you have signed your U.S. title?
Oh, man. This is tough. Who's the most famous U.S. champ? I mean, I guess in recent memory, you could make a case that it was John Cena, but Cena's way better known for the spinner belt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now,
MVP maybe?
Oh, dude, we would have to do a high 10 Fuck a high five.
Oh man,
No,
so crisp.
I love MVP, man. And that's like when I think of the United States title, that's the first person that pops into my freaking mind, man.
Yeah, I guess it would be. And I've interviewed him many times. He actually lives here in South Florida part time, so it's like that'd be an easy one to get. It's just like I got to work on I should probably take the opportunities when I have them. Yeah. Like tag team titles. I think that'd either be New Age Outlaws or the Hardy Boys, maybe the Dudleys, and it's different for every person. Yeah. Right. Like who would sign the Intercontinental Championship? I don't know. Like Miz has had a ton of runs, but Chris Jericho is super famous for holding that title. So I don't.
It's so many choices. But
so I mean, and we could talk for hours about all the frivolous things I would buy with my $1 billion, but that would be that'd be one of them for sure.
Yeah, and before I give you mine, quick story about MVP. I got to see him at WrestleMania 32. I think it was the WrestleCon that was attached that weekend
in Dallas, right?
Yeah. And I told this story many times, but I feel obligated to share with you.
Please.
So I went to the place where they had the WrestleCon. They had a ROH show in there as well. So I went to the show, and as I was coming out, MVP was at the valet waiting on his car, and I'm like, oh shit, that's MVP. And I got this big, like the current WWE championship, this big hunky replica thing hanging over my shoulder and everything. And I'm being very extra stalkerish and whatnot. I'm just walking back and forth, walking past. I'm like, that's motherfucking MVP. I know that. I know that's him. I he's my favorite, and just built up the nerve to walk up to him. I was like, hey, do you mind if I take a picture with you? And he told me no. And the reason he told me no is because, it wouldn't be right to everybody else that paid money to take pictures and stuff with me inside of WrestleCon for me to take one with you for free. And I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just like, it's motherfucking MVP. And after he said that, it dawned on me. He said, but I will shake your hand though. I was like, and I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. And look, and now you're still telling that story 3 years later.
Exactly. I mean,
yeah. I've always said that, when you're a good celebrity who is self-aware, you realize that the 2-3 second interaction you have with somebody is going to be the way that they frame you in their mind for the rest of their life. And, if you treat them like a piece of garbage, you're a dick to them, they're always going to remember you. They're going to tell all their friends and family that you were a dick, even though, you might just not even, realize they were there, or maybe you just weren't having a good day. But I love hearing stories like that one.
Yeah. My frivolous purchases or whatever. I have had plenty time to think about this.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay.
My thing is, if I had a substantial amount of money, I would go back home to my hometown and I would buy all the property around my parents' house. I would rebuild my parents' house from the ground up, just the kind of same way it is, but more modern. And then I would just have the property around that house, just like for family. Whenever we all come in from out of town and whatnot, we don't have to buy hotels or nothing like that. We just come in and that's a place where we all can just chill and hang out and visit. So,
wow. That's very noble. Wow.
So that's the one thing I wanted to do. And then every car that I've ever owned in my life, I would buy the deluxe model of that version. So the very first car I owned was a 1990 Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
So I would buy the deluxe model of that if I could find it. The second car that I ever owned was a 1999 Pontiac Grand Am.
Okay.
So I would have that. Then the next one would be, I believe, a 2003 Dodge Chrysler before they changed to the body style that looked like a Bentley. And then a 2009 Dodge Durango I had. And then a Dodge Journey 2011. And then a Dodge Grand Caravan 2015. And then most recently, I just got this one. So I got a 2019 Dodge Ram.
I'm seeing a real trend here with Dodge.
Well, yeah, that only came once I got the Durango, because when I traded it in, they gave me bonus incentive because I bought a Durango before from Dodge, and then now I'm getting a Dodge Journey, And then when I traded the Dodge Journey in, I got bonus incentive because I was buying another Dodge, and I just kind of stuck with it. But the reason I had the reason that I had so many vehicles, though, let you in on something. Every time a vehicle got paid off or was damn near close to it, it get totaled.
Oh no!
The very first car that I bought with my own money was the '99 Pontiac Grand Am. Paid it in full. I joined the military right out of high school. It was my first car that I paid for with my own money. I went on a deployment, buku deployments, and I saved that money, paid the car off. When I got back, repainted it, tinted the windows, put all the bells and whistles on it. Then 3 days after it was done, I think it was maybe a day or two after my birthday, car ran a red light, took the whole front end of that mug off, and it was gone.
Oh my God, no.
And then the one after that, the Chrysler, somebody stopped short on some railroad tracks. I caught some gravel, slid into the back of them, and they had like a 3-foot long tow hitch in the back, went into my radiator, totaled.
Oh no.
And then, the Durango, it just started falling apart. So I was like, let me get rid of this now before I get in an accident in this.
Yeah.
So them last ones was kind of rough.
Well, apparently you're Dodge for life now, though.
Yeah, because I dodged a lot of bad incidents in the vehicles.
Nice.
Yeah, but I think that was it. Just the cars and doing that thing with the family property and whatnot.
I would definitely like to have my own plane. Like, it'd be so awesome to have a plane and a pilot, and just be like, yeah, let's go here today. No, let's just fly here. And then how awesome would that be?
Yeah, because I don't know if you had to deal with the woes of flying Spirit and all them other places.
Oh yeah, I've flown every airline, and I fly a lot. Like I fly, probably once every 2-ish weeks, 3-ish weeks. So I fly, I fly them all. Mostly American Airlines these days, but I was on Spirit a couple weeks ago. Actually, I flew up to Detroit to get an interview with Rhino, and it was like so much cheaper to do it on Spirit. And the secret with Spirit, as you know, is you can't bring any baggage like at all. Like you're like, oh my God, it's $69 to fly there. And then you're like, oh yeah, but it's $50 to check a bag and then $50 to bring carry on. Like, okay, well now it's the same price as every other airline.
Yeah, because I went to New York for WrestleMania.
Yep.
And
me too.
Oh man, see, so many crisp high five moments.
Jeez.
So
I was at WrestleMania 32 as well. I mean, we could have crisp high five there.
Man, see, are you going to Tampa?
Of course.
All right, so I'll crisp high five you there.
Great. And then I'll be there.
And then
we'll make it happen.
I don't know about the Royal Rumble or whatever, but that's going to be here in Houston, Texas. If you can swang that, you get crisp high fives there. You might even have a room to stay in here.
What? Well, I was at the Rumble this year. I don't see why I wouldn't be there next year.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm going to sort you out and high five the hell out of you.
Let's do it. So what happened when you went to New York?
Spirit flight. And it was $23.
No.
$23. Wow. But the thing about it, the flight took off at 6:00 and I showed up at 4, and the line, because I don't fly a lot. I'm not a 2-weeker like you. So I don't have TSA pre-check and whatnot. So the line was from the x-ray machine all the way out through the breezeway, all the way into the terminal, and all the way around the ticket counter. And I'm like, and then I showed up 2 hours early.
Yeah.
But what was the saving grace on that, though, is they got another company called Clear. And it's a private
You
company.
got the free trial, didn't you?
Exactly. There's like 5 minutes of your time. You can skip this line. You damn right. You can have 6 minutes.
I've heard a lot of my friends done that. That's so funny.
Yeah. And it didn't matter on the way back. It was just a Spirit line. I didn't fly Spirit on the way back, so it didn't even matter. I went with somebody on the way back from LaGuardia back to Houston, and we were both in the terminal. So I was like, well, let me go do my pre-check, since I ain't got to wait in the line with you peasants. And then, I do the pre-check and everything, and he was right behind me in the regular line. So that didn't work to nobody's benefit. So
that's funny.
But yeah, man, it's crazy how we've been in so many of the same places.
That's what happens when you're a wrestling fan, It unites us all.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I mean, what was the catalyst for that? What was the tripping point for you to be like, oh, wrestling is my jam now?
Well, I grew up like wrestling was on in my grandparents' house, but like, it was just on, when you're a kid. But it was the Attitude Era that really got me hooked. 98, 99, that's when I started watching, on occasion. And then I was like week to week, on occasion here and there. And then like, I was just hooked with Austin and McMahon at the time, a huge fan of The Rock. Triple H I was a massive fan of his as well. And then it was like I couldn't get enough of wrestling. Like I watched Raw live on Monday night, then it re-aired the next day in the afternoon, and I watched that, and I watched SmackDown wasn't even on yet, but I'd watch Nitro. I'd flip between and watch Nitro, and I'd watch Thunder and ECW. I watched everything. Yeah. And I actually wanted to be a wrestler. I was a backyard wrestler. Me and my friends had a backyard wrestling company. Backyard Wrestling Federation in my hometown of Pickering, Ontario, Canada. Mm-hmm. My wrestling name was Chris Sharp because he was sharp walking, sharp talking, and sharp dressed. And I made a pact with one of my best friends, Greg Kuzak, that when we were done with high school and we were in college, we were going to go to wrestling school together. And I held up my end of this bargain. Greg did not. But I went to wrestling school for a couple months while I was in college. I was 20 years old. I went to wrestling school in Toronto, and it's a big commitment. And I think that anyone that's been to wrestling school will tell you this. Like, it's like you're going to trade school. It's not just something you do on the side, like going to like karate class, like or like piano lessons or something. Like, this is like your full-time vocation. So it was Tuesdays and Thursday nights, Saturday and Sunday, all day. Plus, I was still in college. Yeah. Plus, it was an hour drive from my college town into Toronto. And after doing it for a couple months, something had to give. Mm-hmm. And it was $250 a month to go to wrestling school. And when you're in college, $250 a month is a ton of money. I mean, still a ton of money now, but especially when you're in college and you're a broke student and you're eating craft dinner for every meal. It was a lot. So it was like, well, something's got to give. I might as well at least finish my college degree. Yeah. And, I'm really glad that I did. And finishing college and, diving into broadcasting has led me onto the career path that I'm on now. And I'm like so incredibly grateful to be able to do what I'm doing now. I host a TV show in Miami called Deco Drive. I interview a lot of celebrities, and I go to red carpets and award shows and review movies. And then, I've got this YouTube channel on the side that you were talking about earlier that, that's like my childhood dream. If I couldn't be a wrestler, at least now I can still be involved in the wrestling world in some way. And I interview, the biggest stars in wrestling. And, I get to have some really interesting conversations with people that I, admire and look up to. So it's pretty awesome. And for me, it's exactly what I want to be doing.
Man, you was just getting real deep into it. You sound like you got choked up a little bit, man.
I'm just passionate and excited. And I had a moment in college right before I graduated. Like I was entering my senior year. I had like 7 months left of school, and I woke up one morning. It just hit me. I'm like, oh my God! Like, when I graduate at the end of this year, I have to work like for the rest of my life. And like, if you went away to college, if you did the thing where you lived in a dorm and then you got a house with some of your friends, like, college is the best. Mm-hmm. You're like living with your friends. You go to class when you feel like it. Like, you have parties and you go to bars. It's great. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, like, they stick a graduation cap on you, give you a diploma, and it's like, all right, now like enter the real world. And it's like this huge 180 where it's like, oh my God, like now I have to work 5 days a week or more every single week for the next 40 or 50 years. So I kind of had this epiphany that, like, if that's going to be the case, if that's going to be my reality, I at least want to do a job I don't hate. Mm-hmm. And that's when I, really dove into like volunteering at a radio station and volunteering at a TV station and getting as much experience as I could get so that when I graduated, I could at least try to get a job that I didn't hate. And, it worked out for me. An internship at a small station in Canada turned into a job. And I was a news reporter at 23 years old. And kind of all went from there.
Word. 23 years old. I think I was on a deployment.
Well, I mean, that's a different kind of real world and a different kind of real life.
And it, you was describing the college lifestyle. I mean, from what you were saying, it sounds very eerily similar to the Marine Corps. So like, I went in straight out of high school and, never been away from home, finally out on my own, kind of making my own money or whatever, because you get paid dirt in the beginning. But just there with people my age. And, we all start together. We all grew up together. We go out and party whenever we're not at working and everything. I mean, it's very college-like. And, being in it for 16 years, then being away from it now, going on 3 years. Yep. I'd recommend it to anybody that doesn't have a plan, So, like, if you don't know if college is the thing for you, and here I am sounding like a freaking recruiting commercial.
You're like a guidance counselor over here.
I mean, if you don't have a solid plan, I mean, college
are you secretly in recruitment?
I mean, man, I wish they hired civilians to do that, because I would go do that in a heartbeat.
It's funny though. We live in a very different world now than when you and I were, 18 years old. And I think that when we were 18, you had to have a plan. You had even if you didn't have a plan, you had to have something you were working towards. For me, college. For you, enrolling. And it's like, I think now you can be like, hey, I really like this thing, whatever this thing is, whatever you're interested in, whether it's music or movies or wrestling or sports, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we see all these people who are making a career out of either doing it on YouTube or talking about it on YouTube or a podcast or whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. And it's just really exciting. And I feel like we're going to be grandparents one day, and we're going to be telling our kids stories about like commuting to work or stuff like that. And they're going to be like, why'd you drive to work? Why didn't you just work from home like everyone else?
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong. People are still going to have to commute, but I just feel like more and more people are taking their own life into their own hands, like their own destiny into their own hands, and going, I'd rather just take a chance on myself, bet on myself, and see what I can do.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. I mean, since we are around the same age again, I bring that up. Like from then until now, I mean, how crazy has technology got, man?
It's insane. And what's crazier about it is how normalized we've become to it. Yes. Like just 10 years ago, iPhones didn't even have the turn-by-turn directions in them. Mm-hmm. Like just 12 years ago, when the iPhone was invented, we had to like go home to look things up on the internet. Yeah. And then just 10 years before that, we didn't really have the internet. That was something that wasn't even like, it was barely in its infancy at that time. So I think what's so crazy about it is how used to it we've all become. Like, remember, like if your parents wanted to like record your baseball game, football game, recital, concert, whatever, you had to bring out the big like VHS camera if you were lucky enough to own one.
Yeah, because there's like
maybe you could borrow one from your neighbor or something if you didn't have one. Maybe.
Yeah, man, because my brother had one of those. He was usually up on the current trends and whatnot when I was a kid and whatnot. But like he was the first one to ever give me, or he was the one that introduced me to compact disc and a CD player. And it was totally by accident.
Do you remember what your first CD was?
I was just about to tell you that story.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's still around, but you probably remember not Publishers Clearinghouse. That's the sweepstakes shit, but Columbia House.
Oh yeah, where it was like 12 CDs for a penny.
Exactly. So my brother was in the military, and I think I was in either middle school or something like that. So he would get mail sent to Mom's house, and started getting CDs in the mail from Columbia House. Yeah. So that's my first interactions with CDs and whatnot. So he obviously did the whole introductory thing. You get 12 for a penny and whatnot, then you cancel anytime and everything. So yeah. I believe he didn't cancel it right away, and he got another CD in and whatnot. So I remember him, I'm a young, dumb kid, and I remember him vividly saying that, I don't want to do this no more. I got to cancel this. So when the CD come in the mail, I didn't think nothing of it. He said he didn't want this no more. So one of my friends were there. I was like, here, you can have this. He said he didn't want this stuff no more. So I gave away the CD. And he ripped it out the box, threw the box over the fence in the other, the field over there on the other side of the house. And, didn't think nothing of it. So my brother get a bill in the mail for the CD. And he was like, I didn't get no CD. And then my mom didn't. You didn't get no mail here. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he's like, I don't know. I forgot how the argument went specifically, but I was like, I have to clear my name. So I go over the fence in the other field or whatnot, and I'm digging through the weeds and everything. And I find the receipt. I find the box that the CD was in and whatnot. And I brought it back. I was like, see, look, you did have something. And he chewed me out. But ultimately, he was just like, here, I went to my friend. I was like, hey, he looking for this thing. He paid for it. He want a CD back. So he was like, here you go. Cool. So the CD that was given away that he wound up giving to me because he didn't want it anyway. He just wanted to see, that, there was something there that he paid for. It was the Criss Cross album, the very first one. Oh, yeah. So that was my first CD. So he
with
gave
the backward pants and everything, right?
Exactly. So he gave that to me. And I was like, what is this? What I'm going to play it on? Then he gave me a boom box with a CD player on top. He's like, here, you can have this too. I was like, oh, all right.
Wow.
So that was my first CD and my first boom box.
Yeah, that's a great story.
And then my nephew, who is a couple years younger than me, he come over and he would come spend the night. We played Nintendo, Xbox, all kind of things and whatnot. And we would take that boombox and we would just find all these CDs. And I can remember vividly because he does music. He raps and everything now. But his mom, she sung gospel and all kind of other stuff like that. Me and him would be in the room trying to sing the Boys to Men CD, freaking on bended knee and everything, trying to do the Wanye head shake and everything. And I can remember it being so horrible. And I would tease him about it every time we talked recently.
Jeez.
But yeah, I mean, what was your first CD?
It's pretty embarrassing.
Can't be.
I'm not like, it's not like I'm proud of it, but it was just, it was such a popular song at the time. And, so it was Ace of Base.
Okay.
The Sign, it was such a popular song. I think that's what the album was called too, but you had The Sign, Don't Turn Around, All That She Wants, all these popular songs on there. And I remember specifically, this was 1994 when I owned my first CD. I remember specifically asking someone, because there was the option to buy the tape, an option to buy the CD. And I'm like, is the CD like that much clearer? Because the CD was like $2 more or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is the CD that much clearer? And they're like, oh my goodness. It's the crispest sound I've ever heard. It sounds so clean. And I remember putting it on and being like, it doesn't sound that much different. But I was amazed because up till this point, you had to fast forward, rewind, all that stuff. I was so amazed that I could be like, if I want to listen to the fourth song, I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's the fourth song. That was a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, man, that was the turning point for me. I was like, I must have all the CDs.
Yes, and now you want to talk about technology changing. CDs are a joke now.
Yeah, I can't even remember. Well, I lied. I go to Walmart every day. Damn near. So, I mean, I see CDs all the time, but
yes,
nobody buying nothing from Walmart because they cut out all the good stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every CD that is sold in Walmart is censored.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, you can go to Target and get the explicit version or whatever. You can go to any other place except for Walmart, which baffles my freaking mind because they can sell R-rated and damn near X-rated movies, but you won't sell a CD that's just an audio medium with curse words in it.
That's so funny. You're so right. Huh. It's funny when you look at the evolution of the way we've listened to music from records to 8-tracks to tapes to CDs. Then when MP3 players came out, it's like, oh my God, I can just put this tiny little thing in my pocket and listen to 20 songs. Amazing. And then the iPod came around. It's like, oh, now I can listen to 500 songs. And now you just have an Apple Music or a Spotify account and you don't even need to own the music anymore. That's the craziest part about it.
Yeah. Now, I'm an Apple guy now. I mean, so you would get blue text bubbles from me.
Good.
But
boy, that was a contentious issue when I mentioned in the interview with Alicia too that she had green text because she had an Android. Like, it was just a joke. And all the people that have Androids, like every single human on earth that owns an Android has commented on that video being like, dude, Androids are the best. No. iPhones suck. It's like, look, I don't care one way or the other. I genuinely don't care. Mm-hmm. If it makes calls and texts and allows you to surf the internet, who cares?
Yeah. Oh, but it's highly touted on the 3R show, the Random Rounds with Rob, that Android is the inferior device.
Oh, well, I think we all know that. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Man,
but, Android people will try to make an excuse. And by no means am I an Apple person. Like, I don't own Apple TV. I don't own a MacBook. Nothing like that. It's just the iPhone makes sense. And it was the first phone to really have actual internet, because before the iPhone it was like you had like just basically words and lines as an internet on your phone, and then the iPhone came along and I'm like, oh, well, I'm sold. It looks like a computer screen. Yeah,
because I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, I dig Apple, but like the only reason I keep it as a phone is because it's the most reliable phone that I've ever had. I never had a problem with it. And then if I did drop this mug on the ground, Apple would be like, oh, man, it's cool, baby. Here, have another one.
And I don't know about you, but like when someone hands me an Android to either like put my number into it or take a photo, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on here. You do it. You do it.
That's daily. We is a split household here. So my wife has an Android. I have an Apple phone.
How do you remain married to her? I'm so sorry.
She looks nice, so I give her a pass. And then the baby, she has like an old iPhone that she plays on. So me and the baby, we team iPhone. And daggone, my son, he has he had an Android device, but he was acting up at school, so it's in my pocket now. But so the house is divided in that, man. Me and the baby would just be like, yeah, screw that junk over there and your green text messages and all that stuff.
You and the baby can be airdropping with each other.
Exactly. Oh, no, look, like no lie, you brought that up, but like, she has an iPad too, an iPad mini, and she got like a little the Adobe Draw, the little pen that she can use on there. Okay. And she'll draw some artwork on there, and she'll be like, "Dad, look," and I'll be like, "AirDrop me that." And I forget I'm just talking to a kid or whatever, and she's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, let me show you." And I showed her how to do the AirDrop. And like, she'll draw something. She's like, "Hey, Dad, let me airdrop this to you." I was like, oh,
yeah.
I'm upstairs doing a podcast, and I get like the little, got a new picture. All right.
Oh, that's cute.
So yes, we a cohesive unit on this side. They just, I don't know what they doing over there. Her phone don't even sit on the charger right. She got the wireless charger stand or whatever, and she had to turn that some bitch sideways to quote The Rock, and so it'll charge. I don't know what's up with it.
Does she shine it up real nice too?
Yeah, she do. She got a terry cloth that she wipe on the screen and whatnot. She shine it up pretty good. But you talk about being here in the States over 9 years now. I mean, what was that transition like coming from up top to down bottom?
Well, being from Canada, you always visit the States. Like New York or Buffalo is an hour and a half drive from me. So I always enjoyed coming to the U.S. And it was always kind of the dream in broadcasting for me to come here, just because there's so many more opportunities. There's not a lot of opportunities in Canada to do entertainment news or TV hosting, which is, the specific niche that I'm in. I'd say that the thing that amazed me the most when I moved here was the portions of food at restaurants. Yeah. Like it's obscene. Like, especially when you go to and I love American chain restaurants still to this day. Like Texas Roadhouse is amazing. Like, and every time I go to Golden Corral, I'm like, are you sure it only costs like $10.99? Like, and I can go up as many times as I want.
I love the pancakes.
Look, I don't know why people hate on Golden Corral. Golden Corral is fantastic, and I would eat there every single day if there was one closer to my house. Like when I first moved here, I gained 10 pounds in the first 6 weeks because I ate out at a new American chain restaurant like every day. We went to Pizza Hut lunch buffet like 3 or 4 times a week. It was just crazy. So that was a big transition for me. I had to start to show some self-discipline to not eat my face off every single time that I was, had the option to. I specifically remember going to, I think it was Applebee's, and they had their 2 for $20 menu, where it's basically you get 2 entrees and an appetizer for $20. And I was living in Cleveland, and I'd been there for like maybe 2 months, 3 months. And like 3 of my friends from Toronto came down for a road trip. And I'm like, oh, well, we'll go to Applebee's. It's, it's easy. It's cheap. It's close. We went there, and they're like, what's this 2 for $20 thing? I'm like, oh yeah, you want to split? He's like, dude, for $20, I can get 2 meals and an appetizer. Like, I'm going to get one of these for myself. And all my friends, every single one of them got the 2 for $20 for themselves. Like, so that just shows you how like good of a deal it is.
Yeah, man. Oh, so what's your go-to? What like whenever you just like, I need to go here right now, I'm hungry.
Nowadays, it's like pizza and wings are like my kryptonite. So like if I could find like a Buffalo Wild Wings or a Hooters, like that's my jam. Or like, just a local sports chain here, like sports bar here. Like that's it for me. Like a dozen wings and a beer and maybe some fries, like that is it for me. If it was a chain restaurant, you can't go wrong with Cheesecake Factory. And I love me some Cracker Barrel and Texas Roadhouse. Yeah. My God, so good.
Now, yeah, I got confused. You was talking about Golden Corral. So I love the pancakes. I thought you was talking about Cracker Barrel, but yeah, Texas Golden Corral. Me and the kids, we can go to places like that. The missus, not so much.
They have a chocolate Wonderfall though.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
It is. It's a wonderful Wonderfall. You can dip anything in that thing.
Me and the kid, the oldest one, me and her made a $5 bet that she wouldn't eat some chocolate covered carrots. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, go and dip that in the Wonderfall. See how that go.
I think I dipped pizza in there last time. Oh, so good.
I need to try that.
Anything dipped in the chocolate Wonderfall is amazing.
Did you do the chocolate or the white chocolate?
Oh, I did the dark chocolate. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Slew of interviews. I'm gonna ask you your favorite 2. One from the professional wrestling side and one just overall entertainment.
Well, my favorite from the wrestling side is someone I looked up to, like when I was a kid, and it was someone who was on the top of my list that I wanted to interview for years and years and years. And when I finally got to meet The Rock, it was everything you'd want it to be. Like he's charismatic, he's funny, and he makes you feel important, even though he's arguably, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. He takes the time to make you feel important. So, Rock's obviously, to me, a wrestler. To a lot of people listening to this, Rock might be just a movie star, not a wrestler. So, he might touch on both those categories. But for me, he'll fall into the wrestling category. In the celebrity category, it's really hard to top. Tom Cruise was my other interview that I really wanted to get. And there's very few legitimate movie stars. And when he walked onto that red carpet, and what a situation this was. It was last summer, Mission Impossible 6, red carpet, world premiere in Paris. And we were right underneath the Eiffel Tower. It was the coolest possible scenario. And Tom Cruise is, for as big of a star as he is, he's been in Hollywood now for 30 plus years as a massive star. He looks you in the eye and has a conversation with you like you're the only person there. And it was one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced. And if that's the only time I ever get to talk to Tom Cruise, that'll be okay. That was a really amazing experience.
Yeah. And I know when you and Alicia had the conversation and whatnot, you asked what was on her checklist and whatnot. I mean, I extend that same question to you. I mean, who's on your checklist? I mean, you done already got to The Rock. You done already talked to Tom Cruise or whatever. So, I mean, what's next, man? What's higher?
Well, the interview that's at the top of that list now is Vince McMahon.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if that will happen, but I'll keep putting it out in the world. That's the interview I'd love to make happen. Even if it's just for a few minutes, I would love to meet Vince McMahon. I mean, whether you love him or hate him, whether you're happy or not with the WWE product, if you're a wrestling fan or you've ever been a wrestling fan at any point in your life, you have Vince McMahon to thank. He basically built this up from the ground up. And I would first like to say thank you to him. And then I'd have just a ton of questions about just the whole process of everything. And that's one I'd love. If that can't happen, Triple H. Triple H is a guy I had a poster of when I was in high school on my wall. Now he's in the position that he's in now. And, you know, he probably will be the next Vince McMahon. Like, it seems like he's kind of the heir apparent to the throne. Yeah. So those are the two that I'd like to make happen. I think Triple H is maybe possible. Vince, I don't know, but I'll keep saying that Vince is the one I want. Yeah.
Now, if you can't get Vince proper, would you take the Vince from the Firefly Playhouse? Funhouse?
I would gladly take that if Bray Wyatt's included.
Oh yeah, that has to be a package deal. I mean,
whatever he has, whatever he's doing with that gimmick, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you what you thought about it. Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how this translates into the ring.
Yeah.
That's because these vignettes are fun and they're great, but they're not going to last forever.
Yeah. And that's kind of what been the crux with him or whatever, man. He'll go away for a while, come back with something fresh, and then it just kind of like,
yeah. And I think he's really talented. Like, when he had that run and that push a couple of years ago, there's no reason he couldn't have been the champion. And I don't know why they didn't give him that chance and take that chance on him, because I think it would have been a really interesting run.
I want to see him in movies.
Okay.
I really do.
But you want to see him being the Bray Wyatt character in movies, or you just want to see, Bray Wyatt, the person acting?
I want to see him do something in a film. I mean, he don't have to be, he can do whatever it is that he want to do. I just want to see him in a film.
Okay. Well, I think that's probably pretty possible. Yeah, because I don't see why not.
Yeah, I mean, because the way, this whole Firefly Funhouse and just like delivery of promo and everything. I mean, he has the ability to embody the character. And I really feel like if you gave him a bomb movie role, whether it be a horror film or just whatever, that he would knock it out of the park. And I would pay money to see such.
Bray Wyatt's got something pretty special going on, whether it's in this incarnation or the previous one. There is not an entrance cooler than the lights going out, the lantern getting turned on, and everyone taking out their iPhone flashlight or Android flashlight.
Or regular flashlight.
I'd rather it in the air.
Or regular flashlight. I take a regular flashlight over Android.
That was a really cool thing, especially when it was like at WrestleMania and there was 80,000 people doing that, or 100,000 people. Really, really cool.
Yeah, not so much in Santa Clara, but
yeah, because it was light out at the time, wasn't it?
Yes, exactly. I was there for that one with my.
I was there too.
God damn it,
man! First of all, how many Manias have you been to?
New York would have made my fourth. The only one that I missed was the one in Orlando.
Okay, so you went to 30. Was it 30, 31, 32?
No, I went to 31, 32, 34, 35.
Okay. All right, cool. I did 18 in Toronto. I'm as old as WrestleMania. So I was 18 at WrestleMania 18. So then I did 27, 29, and 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Yeah. I mean, now I'm going every year because it really helps my YouTube channel to get as many interviews as I can. And, there's no better week than WrestleMania, because it's amazing. WrestleMania week's a really special thing, even if you don't go to WrestleMania. Everyone who's ever had anything to do with wrestling at any point in their career is there, either wrestling, doing, maybe a show or something like that, or they're signing autographs.
Yeah. And that's what New York was for me, because like out of the 4 trips, this one by far was the best, because I went there, I met people that I used to serve with, and I went there. I was able to do a live podcast with one of the shows that I personally listen to, and I think is freaking awesome. So I got to be in person with those people, giving them crisp high fives and recording a podcast with them.
Yeah.
And then, we had a ton of meetups and everything. It was just, out of all 4 of them, that was the best one for me. And I'm just waiting to see what Tampa's going to look like. And I'm going to give you a theory.
Okay.
Not only will we crisp high 5, we were probably high 10, but
wow.
Kyrie Sane.
Yeah.
WrestleMania. Pirate themed. Pirate princess. I feel that's why she got called up. I don't know why.
No, I don't know. Unless she starts getting booked differently, that is, I think that seems a little far off right now.
Yeah. Well, it's just right now. We have plenty of time.
That's right. We have almost a year. You're right.
Mm-hmm. The briefcase ain't even been cashed in yet, so we good.
It gets cashed in next week.
So say.
That's true.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be yesterday, and he's screaming Friday because they're doing the show that will not be named. So I'm still gonna watch it. I know people are upset about it, but I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. So
we're all gonna watch it. Of course we are.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, man, I ain't watching that shit, and then they'll be like, doop. Oh,
of
man.
Course, of course you're watching it.
Because what I don't understand is how you going to sit there and tell me you ain't going to watch it, then you know every detail of the match that happened. I was like, I thought you didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, the TDE can only gift so much of a match,
Yeah, exactly.
But man, entrepreneur is a category here on your amount of your list of accolades here and whatnot. I mean, what you got going on in the background other than being awesome and handsome and everything with that mane of hair of yours?
I own an outdoor fishing brand. I'm a big bass fisherman. I've been bass fishing my whole life. I competed in bass tournaments up until recently, and my fishing partner is now my business partner, and we started a bass fishing brand where we sell tungsten fishing weights.
Oh, okay.
And tying together the wrestling world and with the fishing world, the company is called Woo Tungsten. And you have to say it like that every time. Woo Tungsten. Partly because of the Ric Flair tie-in, but also partly because when you catch a giant bass, what are you screaming? You're screaming, woo!
I got you. You have sold me.
We started the company almost 3 years ago, and it's grown into being a really big brand. We have 135,000 followers on Instagram, and we've kind of grown this from the bottom up. We're both very dedicated, hardcore fishermen, and there was some real problems with the current product on the market.
I see what you did there. Real.
So we went out and created a better product, and we're really proud of it, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But the cool thing about being an entrepreneur is the more time you put into it, the more, value you get out of it. So it's been great. And that, I feel like being a YouTuber is also, that makes me an entrepreneur. Like everything I do with my YouTube channel is me creating the opportunities for, those interviews to happen, those videos to be made. And if anyone follows my channel or subscribes to me, the journey I go on for these interviews. Like sometimes I'm flying to the other side of the country to make it happen. When I interviewed Tony Khan, the CEO of AEW 2 months ago, it was one of the few interviews that he gave. It was like basically me and Talk is Jericho and a couple others. I drove 5 hours each way to Jacksonville. His family owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we did the interview inside his family's suite on the 50-yard line inside TIAA Bank Field where the Jaguars play. It was such a cool thing. So, that makes me not just a grinder, not just like someone who's really getting after it and hustling, But yeah, that's a trait of an entrepreneur too.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing your fish here on Instagram, and I must say you have a nice bass.
Are you checking on my bass right now?
Yeah, it's nice, man. It's glistening in the sunlight.
Yeah, I do love me some. I do love me some bass. I'm a bass man. What can I say?
That should be a shirt.
I'm a bass man.
Bam, bam. But yeah, man. You've been doing the broadcasting thing, buku years thus far, and I'm just getting into it, 3 years with this show and whatnot, and I'm making those strides, man. I did my first con last month here in Houston. I'm doing another one this weekend in Pasadena, which is South Houston, and then in November I'm going back to Jersey, going to Atlantic City for another con, and I'm just spreading the word that is me.
Are you you're getting a booth there? You're getting a table there? Is that what you're doing?
I'm doing a panel, and then we'll have a booth there as well, and then I'll probably be doing a couple of live shows.
Dude, that's amazing. Congrats.
Yeah, it's just now is because I have more support than I had in the beginning, because in the beginning it was just an obnoxious hobby. I was like, oh, the wife was like, you ain't gonna be doing this shit. She talk like that sometimes. And after I think year 1, she was just like, you really doing this shit? It's like, yes, I really am doing this. and the real takeaway here is I think a lot of people get discouraged after, because it is very time consuming to be a podcaster or a YouTuber, and I think people get really discouraged when they put out their first 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever it happens to be, and the audience isn't there. And I think people need to remember, no one was listening to the first 100 episodes that Joe Rogan recorded, the first 500 probably, and look at him now. Just stick with it. If you're enjoying doing it, don't let the numbers discourage you. Just do it. Do it if it makes you happy. Do it if it interests you. Do it if it's something that you're passionate about. And then the listeners and the viewers will end up following, because they'll be able to feel your passion that you have for it. Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree. Because I have many people that'll reach out to me and be like, hey, man, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. And I was like, first of all, don't think about it. Just do the shit.
Yeah.
And because, that's truly the only way that you're going to know if you like it or not,
Well, I'll let you in on something. I'm making a podcast.
God damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Are we best friends or what? Because
did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Because you saying what I'm thinking. And then we've been in a lot of the same places. And what? You my best friend now.
So my podcast. I'm a very big believer in setting specific goals, because specific goals get specific results. And I have a T-shirt now that says "Vague goals get vague results," which is a damn fact. So I've put all the wheels in motion that by July 1st, I will have at least my first episode up. So it's called, very original name here. It's called The Chris Van Vliet Show.
What? Never thought you would do, man.
Crazy. So the idea is I'm going to take the audio from my YouTube interviews.
Yeah.
And I get that not everyone wants to watch or listen to these long form interviews on YouTube. So I'm going to take the audio, put it on my podcast. And, then when you're driving to work or you're sitting at work, and you just want to pop your headphones in, now you can just listen to the interview, and it gives you it's a completely different medium, same message, but completely different medium. And I'm looking forward to starting that, and trying to make that as big as I can.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that or whatever, because you do a lot of video content and everything. I was going to ask you that, but you already presented it to me. You already gave me the layout and whatnot.
There we go, same wavelength. It just honestly, it was the next logical step, and I think for the longest time, I got asked a lot. I got asked by a lot of different people and a lot of different podcast networks, was I going to start my own podcast? And the answer was no. I didn't want to have a podcast where I reviewed Raw every week, or I, harped on the product. And, if that's what your podcast is about, there's lots of people that are doing that. That's fine. That's just not what I wanted my podcast to be about. My strength was in doing interviews. And I was like, well, if I'm going to do a podcast interview, then it's going to take away from my YouTube channel. Well, now I'm like, I'm just going to do both. I'm going to combine them together. And what you see on YouTube is what you're going to hear on the podcast and vice versa. I don't expect you to listen to both. But if you listen or watch one, thank you.
Now, is that going to fall up under the umbrella of you, or are you going to reach out to a network? How is it going to go about?
I think I'm going to have to do it on my own, at least to start.
Yeah.
Kind of work out the kinks. And then if it grows from there, great. But, this is something I want to do for me. And I'm a fan of wrestling. And if other fans can appreciate this, then let's do it.
Cool beans. Now, we've been rambling here for about an hour. I've thoroughly enjoyed your company, sir, but this is where we have to put the pin in it.
Well, likewise. Look, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time, inviting me, reaching out to me, and making this happen.
Cool. And before we ride off into that good night, let everybody know where they can find you on social media if they haven't been following you and doing whatever with you already. Well,
thank you again for having me on. Thank you to everyone who's listening to this. And it's easy to find me online. It's just my name, at Chris Van Vliet, VanVliet. And that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course my YouTube channel. And if you're a wrestling fan and you've watched any of my interviews, it'd be awesome if next time you come across one of them, just throw me a subscribe. And my specific goal for this year, because once again, specific goals get specific results. My specific goal for this year was to put out 50 wrestling interviews. And tomorrow morning, I'm uploading number 40 with Ryback. Okay. And it's only June. So I think we're going to hit this goal of 50 pretty easily.
Yeah. And then I have a wrestling minor, so you can get me, and I'll be like 40 and a half or 40 and a quarter.
No, we don't do half interviews. That would be a full interview. That would be a full count.
All right. I mean, I took some bumps. I mean, I hit my head pretty good one time. It was all right.
That's a different kind of bump, I think.
Oh, no. I didn't even get into my wrestling minor story, but we can save that for another time.
Let's do it next time.
All right. But as always, you've been a guest of the show. And the door is always open for you to come back, promote your next big thing, or just to come shoot the shit. I mean, I'm here for you, man.
I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This was a fun chat. It's like we're just hanging out. Yeah, as the best friends that we are.
Yeah, bestest friends that anyone could be. What was that? The Hangover? Yeah.
Yeah, we're the three best friends that anyone could have.
Yeah, shit. We could probably give Chucky T and Trent a run for their money.
Oh, love best friends. What a great tag team.
Yeah. And there he was, C.V.V. Chris Van Vliet. Man, fun episode, man. I hope you felt the same way. And as per mentioned on my Instagram earlier today, as I record this outro, you can have a chance at winning a free t-shirt from my merch store on randomrobcast.com/merch. So whatever t-shirt on there in your size, I get that to you if you meet the criteria. So you have to go to my Instagram and figure out how you can win these free shirts. I'm only doing it for 2 people. So, you got 2 people and you can win you a free shirt from the website. So like I said, the way you can win it is on my Instagram. So you have to go to my Instagram, search for the Random Rounds with Rob or 3R Show. Well, no, don't search for 3R Show because that punk motherfucker got my daggone hashtag profile. The shit, the freaking @ then 3R Show. That's not mine. I don't own that one because I'm sorry, son of a bitch. Got that shit before I got to it. But anyway, you just look up the Random Rounds with Rob or use the hashtag 3R Show and you find me. And check out my video. Also, today I went to Retropalooza down in Pasadena, Texas, and I acquired me an OG Xbox. So I got like a bag full of games. I bought another controller and everything. But the dilemma is I don't have a proper television with the AV jacks in the back, because all this modern stuff, they cutting out all the older tech and whatnot, and I can't properly hook it to my projector right now, so I had to order an HDMI hookup joint for it or whatever, so that'll be here Monday. And I might have to bust out the old TV out the closet so I can hook this thing up and do some gaming and whatnot on the OG Xbox. And to be full honest with y'all and everything, the only reason I wanted that original Xbox, and you can probably go through and name a slew of games in your past that you would love to play again, but I only got an original Xbox because the price was right, and because I only want to play two games. And I know Xbox currently is trying to make the new system, the Xbox One X, and the future one that's coming out that they're going to announce at E3. They're trying to make it backwards compatible with all 4 generations, which soon to be 5 generations of the Xbox. But I know damn well they're not going to make these 2 games compatible, and that's Enter the Matrix and The Path of Neo. So that's the only reason I bought an Xbox. And it's some stupid ass street basketball game called Street Hoops that I wanted to play, that I remember from my, playing the original Xbox when it was actually out from back in the day, that I could never dunk on that game. It was like some convoluted way button mash that you had to do to dunk the ball. And now that I'm older and I got enough wit in my brain housing group, I'm going to play this game and I'm going to figure out how to dunk this goddamn basketball. Even if I got to get on motherfucking YouTube, I'm going to figure this out. But shout out to everybody at Retropalooza for showing up. And thank y'all for having me there. I appreciate you very much. And hopefully I can get at you again next year. Chris Van Vliet. I messed up his name earlier on my Instagram. You'll see that too when you find out how you can win these free t-shirts. God damn it. But, dude is super nice, super cool. I wish him all the best in his future endeavors. And I say that not in a way that he gonna get fired from somewhere and pop up somewhere else, but, he can't get fired. He worked for himself. Anyway, I digress. Great interview. Great time. And, I think I've rambled enough. And because I'm trying to get up on this Xbox, that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say what I gotta say. Thank Chris. I'm holding him to that crisp high five in Tampa. And yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. Anyway, follow me on the Twitter at It's B.R.O.B. That's ITSBROB. If you want to talk professional wrestling and any other general shenanigans, that's the place you do it. Also, this show that you're listening to right now has its own Twitter at 3R Show. And you can find me on Instagram, to where you can find out how you can win these free t-shirts. And you can also go to randomrobcast.com, to where you can find all the things I just said, plus many different ways that you can help support this show and help it grow. Man, I'm trying to travel and take this thing out on the road and meet some of my fellow podcasters all across the states and whatnot. And hell, if I can get outside the country, maybe go to Canada, further north, and, some overseas shit. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to need a little support, because the 9 to 5 and it's not cutting it right now. But, many ways you can support is being a patron. You can go to patreon.com, search 3R Show or the Random Rounds with Rob. I'll pop up, and you can support for as little as $1. If you're not into the paying a subscription or paying things every month, because I know, look, I'm honest with y'all. I'm lacking on the freaking Patreon tip right now. I used to upload all these uncut episodes and whatnot as soon as I finish them, but I've been getting bogged down. This whole WrestleMania thing threw me off, and I keep blaming it on that. But, work has been ramping up and all kinds of things like that. If you read the news for here in Houston, Texas, there was a shooting, at one of the places that I normally frequent with my job. So yeah, it's getting real out here. So, I'm lucky to be here, sitting here podcasting with y'all. But, so you can support via Patreon again. Like I said, you can buy some merchandise. I mean, I love creating things for y'all, and I take suggestions, and I'm trying to commission some more talented artists than myself so I can get you some cool things out there. So, you can go to randomrobcast.com/merch and, buy some merch. I got to fix my link from my Amazon wish list because I got, equipment on there. If you want to donate that to the show, it'd be gratefully appreciated. And I got some Amazon links y'all can use that I can get some commission off of your purchases. You don't pay nothing extra. I just get a little kickback for you using my links. And you can just donate straight up for one time. I got links on there to Cash App and freaking PayPal. But all that aside, money is not the issue here. Money is, I'm getting by. But the main way that you can support this show and any other show that you listen to or view on YouTube or whatever is by subscribing, writing reviews, clicking, resharing, even if you ain't listening to me, just play this motherfucker in the background on loop. Go start from episode 1 and just let it play all the way through to 174. Just do that. But writing those 5-star reviews, and if you have anything under 5 stars, leave some feedback. Let me know what I can do to make this thing better. On the tip again of the Patreon thing, I know I just talking about the free way that you can help support the show, the most important way, but I'm trying to think of more ways to spice that thing up, man, because I know I'm lacking, but I'm here. I'm listening. Got them ear holes open. Send me some suggestions and whatnot. And maybe one day I can meet you in the flesh and give you a crisp high five. So on that note, I'm done. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you're enjoying, hope you're getting ready to enjoy what's to come. And I'll see you next time.